Derrick Pettis is the founder of PFS Tax Pros LLC, a tax preparation service that has been active since 2009. Under his leadership, the company has grown to be a reputable provider of federal and state tax preparation services, servicing both individuals and small businesses. PFS Tax Pros is known for its virtual tax filing system, offering a convenient, affordable, and efficient way for clients to file their taxes without needing to visit a physical office. In addition to tax filing, the company offers cash advances for up to $7,000 on tax refunds and focusing on maximizing clients' deductions to ensure the highest possible returns. Mr. Perttis emphasizes client service and efficiency, striving to make the tax filing process straightforward and stress-free. Derrick also runs an educational program through PFS Tax Pros aimed at helping aspiring tax professionals build lucrative careers. These programs offer comprehensive training in tax preparation with the goal of guiding participants to earn 5 and 6 figures as tax professionals. Do me a favor and put your virtual hands together and welcome the one and only Derrick Pettis. Well, hello to another episode of the ME Show. Ali Midad. We live from the ME studios, and I am super excited, humbled to have the opportunity and the privilege to bring a returning superhero. That's right. This is not his first time. I usually debut greatness, but he already created his greatness, and it's crazy. 2 years ago, this gentleman was featured with us, and I had a few colleagues of mine that were trying to get as many nuggets of him as possible. Today, he is so important to us as people, as an audience, as listeners and viewers. Not only it's an election season, not only tax season, not only a lot of craziness and shenanigans, economy, inflations, a lot has changed since the last time that we spoke to him. But I am selfishly excited because he's a brother from another mother, right from Florida, bringing the heat to you and I. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in the ME Show, the one and only Derrick Pettis. That's right. My guy, what's going on?
What's up, big bro? How you doing tonight?
I'm living the dream, man. First and foremost, we went over your bio earlier before the start of the show. Incredible craziness, incredible greatness. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like, I want to know about that $7,000 that he was talking about. I'm going to highlight that for a second. But before we dive deep into that $7,000, there are a few people who may not know about you and your greatness. So do me a favor. Just bring us up to speed a little bit about the amazing Derrick Pettis, your background. How in the world did you get into this profession? Because some people may say like numbers, figures, that's hard. So let's talk about it. Where did you all start? I know your story, but I want people to hear it too. Tell us a little bit about your background.
All right. Well, I'm a native of Florida. I've been here my whole life. St. Petersburg, small city outside of Tampa, right along the coast. A lot of you might have heard about us recently with storms back to back. But I basically grew up here. Typical story, hard, rough, poverty-stricken upbringing, family, and just life affected by drugs, crime, all the typical things that young Black men suffer from these days. But I always had an ability to find a way to make something out of nothing, and I always was determined to just one way or the other be great. So I always would find ways or things to, make it to the next day. And here we are today, where I'm continuing to build and now offer things to also make just the struggle easier for everyday people like us.
Yes, sir. Going from the Black man struggling to a Black man making it to the top. I do have to celebrate you because one of the things that, even your social media speaks it extremely, extremely loud. you don't fall into the trap of the stereotype. Look, let's keep it 100. I understand the challenges that come along with being a minority, right? I understand the challenges that come along with sometimes you got to work twice to three times as hard to make it where someone else just did the bare minimum. Talk to me a little bit about when you look back, some of the biggest milestones or celebrations that you've experienced in the last couple of years with PFS.
Basically, the number one milestone that I accomplished is being able to be 100% fully in control of what I'm able to do for people when it comes down to their tax and financial situations. I can tell people that when they're doing business with me, there's no middleman. I deal directly with the IRS. I'm an authorized agent, licensed and certified through them. So I'm able to give people the assurance that when we do report what they got going on with their finances, they won't have the issues that many people run into dealing with inexperienced people in the industry.
That's actually pretty important, because the truth of the matter is, no offense to the seasonal highlighted tax preparing companies, right? Like I don't want to say names because I don't, I like my money and I don't want to send it through anybody's lawyer. But what I will say, I like to call them the McDonald's fast lane preparers, that you hear about for 3 months and then they disappear. You actually do this year round, and this is truly your profession, not just a seasonal thing, correct?
Correct. I'm here all year for all of my clients. I don't take any time away from tax season because it doesn't stop. They have deadlines. Like we just approached one or passed one last month, the 15th of October. And I've been working up until that point with clients that had extensions. And now I'm dealing with the people who didn't have everything in order and making sure that they do get the things that they need so we can get them reported, because, late is better than never.
Let me ask you a question. Does good or bad economy impact taxes overall? In other words, do you see a lot more people applying for extensions when the economy is not favorable? Or, because look, there's a lot of us who unfortunately just hear what the media is putting out, right? Like tax the 1% and the middle class and the majority, but does it really mean anything, or it's a whole different reality from your vantage point?
From my vantage point, dealing specifically with the extensions, that tends to come more from people who just weren't prepared and didn't have all of their documents and stuff in place, or just weren't educated properly on tax codes, tax laws, and their tax situations. And they need time to either get the documents and information that they need to report, or just to work out whatever issues they didn't have in place before the deadline.
You mentioned a keyword that I think a lot of us don't pay attention to: education. How important, especially if you are in business, is it for an individual to be educated and to have a professional, not just when you need to do your taxes, but someone who actually works with you on a year-round basis?
That's a great question, and it actually,
Thank you. And I will make sure that I use just that one little tiny part that you said. That's a great question. And I'm going to say endorsed by Derrick Pettis. But go on, bro.
but it is because that's actually what led me to the profession. I've been an entrepreneur, half of my life, and my first couple businesses that I opened a collision, auto body and collision shop, and then I opened a machine shop and welding shop. And I was dealing with a CPA and a tax guy, and for 5 years, the IRS would not accept my returns. And I couldn't figure out how I was dealing with supposed to be professionals, right? And the IRS was not accepting my returns. So what I did was I contacted the IRS myself and was lucky enough to get on the phone with an agent that explained to me exactly how I needed to report my income, why I needed to report my income this way. And then he walked me through it step by step. And pretty much from that day, I felt like it was important for people, especially in our communities, to understand what's going on with the tax codes, the tax laws, and how to just get everything you're supposed to be getting from the IRS, or if you have a liability, how to minimize that the best, right? And evading is illegal, but you can avoid taxes legally.
Explain evading. What do you mean by that?
When I say evade, I mean you withhold or you attempt to hide income from the IRS. That is against the law and illegal. But there are ways through deductions, credits, and other things that the IRS offers uh, that will allow you to avoid taxation. So that's why I say avoiding is legal, evading is illegal. And that's why people really should seek and deal with tax professionals when dealing with the IRS, because there's a thin line between legal and illegal.
And it's a very, very thin one, and that's why people end up getting in trouble, right?
Right.
One of the things that I think you would agree with me on social media, there is a lot of, and I ask this question literally every time I have a professional or an authority in their own profession. There's a lot of mixed information out there. Like I could scroll and then one person that has millions of views could say something, and then the very next thing, somebody that says completely contradicting information. And it's always like, do you want to get rid of the IRS? You want to get rid of your, it's like almost like, how do I get away with murder? And 99% of the content that's out there. Help me understand, what would you suggest the best resource? Because also state to state differ in their tax laws. So it's not safe for me to just think that all information that's on social media applies to me. Is that accurate? Or, what is your take on social media experts when it comes to taxes?
That's very accurate. And I'm gonna be very careful with this because we all market using social media, and it's the easiest way to reach a lot of people. But at the same time, that's exactly what we got to keep in mind. It's easy to reach a lot of people for the uneducated, because some of the people are just uneducated and they receive bad information from mentors that aren't educated properly in the field. So I would suggest for people to just look at people's uh, past results. Reviews do a good job, because some people make and buy fake reviews, so that can trick you on social media. But you got to be careful. You got to ask questions, right? Ask a lot of questions and research and do uh,
Your own homework, essentially.
investigating, I
Yeah.
guess. But you kind of just want to be careful, man, because social media is just making it super easy for a lot of people to, that they once they get the money, they're gone.
It's factual. Again, I'm gonna dive into a few things that you hit on because it's so important. It's so easy to get in trouble. I believe it's also so easy not to get in trouble. You just got to make the right decisions, right? So first things first. I looked at your website, which, by the way, everybody is to visit pfstaxpros.com. You're going to thank me for it. But one of the things that, I noticed right away, free quotes, that's the very first thing, largest returns guaranteed, and cash advances also within 24 to 48 hours. Now, when I see that, I'm like, man, I just found the holy grail. How are you able to do that and do it maintaining a sense of ethical deliverables? Because a lot of times, again, social media marketers, they will just hype up and say anything. It's like the car salesman, right? They'll tell you anything to get you to the door. $150, no down payment. Next thing you know, $600 a month later. So help me understand, how are you able to bring such value while maintaining proper expectations?
Those offers actually speak for the credibility that I've built over the years as a tax specialist. The fact that I have a bank that is backing me and is going to offer up to 7,000, which is typically about the largest cash advance that you can receive during tax season, and that the IRS also is allowing me to do this using the banks and going directly to file straight to the IRS. I don't have to. A lot of these, as we mentioned earlier, these social
McDonald's
media,
prepares.
these McDonald's preparers, they're actually just filing people's returns on TurboTax and charging them a cash upfront fee. And then,
That's
once
crazy.
I've heard all the stories, bro. Once they get audited or whatever, they can't reach the people. They don't have a number. I got them off of Facebook. They don't have an office. They don't have any of that. Those are the things, going back to that question, the last question, that you want to look for. You want to see if this person has an actual location that they can be reached at. Do these people have numbers that are listed? Are they listed in places? Google. That's the stuff you want to look for dealing with credibility. When dealing with tax professionals, the cash advances. The only way that I can guarantee you the largest return is by assuring you that I know the tax laws and codes inside and out, and I can guarantee that I'm going to get you the maximum amount of credits, the maximum amount of exemptions for your particular tax situation.
Do tax laws change often, or is it based on the federal government, which, whether it's Democrat or Republican? Because I know when Trump was in office, he made a major enhancement to the tax law, especially for business owners. How often do you see change, and how much do you have to re-educate yourself?
I have to continually, every year I have to do so many hours of continuing education. Excuse me. In order to stay up to date with these laws and codes. So yes, these do change yearly. Every time we see politicians come into office and other ones leave office, we're going to have laws and the taxes change. And that's dealing with federal, state, and local, because, in Florida, we don't have any state income tax, but we do have federal income tax. And in other states, the politicians and politics, they do play a role in it. So those laws are always changing, and we're possibly going to be seeing some changes here before tax season actually kicks off this year.
So you've been in business since 2009. Kudos to you, my guy. If I was in a radio station right now and I was a DJ, you already know I would have bombs dropping and claps going and confetti and boom, 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 boom. But I got a question. So you've gone through the Obama administration. You've gone through the Trump 4-year administration. You've gone through 4 year of the Biden administration. What would you say the biggest impact or changes or trends that you notice between a Democratic and a Republican tax? And the reason I'm asking this, it's election season. A lot of people have important votes about a lot of emotional things. But one of the things that I feel like we're always baited on, I'm not going to increase your taxes. I'm going to make taxes better for the little guy. I'm going to make taxes better for the entrepreneur. So does it really change? Does it make that much of a difference? Or is it just a sweet little point to talk about to get votes?
It is, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not a political scientist or anything of the sort, but I do tend to notice that Democratic policies tend to want to give breaks to citizens. Republican policies tend to want to give breaks to business. My opinion is that if we give the breaks to the businesses, they can hire more people, they can raise pay, they can lower prices, and that will flow down to the citizens. When the Democrats tend to want to push a more socialist plan, meaning they want to give the people more stuff from government funding. That means that the citizens and the businesses have to pay more taxes, because that money is not going to just appear out of nowhere. I do suggest don't take my word on any of this. Everyone, do your research on each of the candidates and the policies that they plan to push and the changes that they plan to make, and make your best decision. But it's a toss up, and we saw 4 years of Trump, 4 years of Biden and Harris, and I think they're night and day. I don't think it should take explanation. I think you can see the difference in the way the country was operated. And last thing that I think that a lot of people don't understand is that we're dealing with federal government and politics. You're dealing with a corporation, something that needs to be run like a business, not like a we help program.
No, I know exactly what you mean, and I I think the fact that a lot of people, the majority of the population, is not entrepreneurial minded leads for the noise to say, I want your help, you're not helping me, you're not this. But the reality is, if we were more educated, which kind of goes back to the educational system, if we were educated on how to build a business versus how to write a resume back in high school, I think this conversation will be very obvious to the masses, regardless of political parties, genuinely, regardless of political parties. Because look, I share your values, but I meet with a lot of individuals who would look at me and be like, you're a capitalistic asshole who doesn't care about me and my family. It's not the case. If my business does better, I can hire somebody from your family, and then your family does better by default, but it does not normally or organically connect. Now, on the flip side of that coin, you got companies like Walmart who gets a tax return every single year. And you're like, how does $1 trillion company get a tax return? Like, how? It goes back to that literacy, the financial literacy and the tax laws, and having a profession that knows how to avoid unnecessary taxation versus how to evade taxation. Am I right?
That's right, spot on.
All right, bro. So, I think we got a lot already, and this is only the very first portion of this interview. And I just want to say I came out at you gun blazing. I'm like, give me all the information now. And I think because I'm comfortable enough that I know your backstory, and I respect the hell out of you. Specifically, I know enough of your background, where you're dealt a bad hand and you make it on top, and you're like, yeah, I'm not that guy, and I'm never going to allow my past to define my future. But at the same exact time, what I respect about you the most is you did not change who you authentically are. You're yourself. You joke on Zoom or on the live video as you would if you were offline. Your posts are organic in that you are who you are. You still love your cars. You still love your family. You still do what you do. And that's something that a lot of people, unfortunately, lose themselves, right? They compromise who they truly are for the sake of the avatar to please the masses. And I genuinely appreciate that you are not that. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We got to pay some bills. So you're going to see a pretty face telling you about a service and a website that you are to use, and you'll know why immediately after we come back. We'll take a break. Derrick, chill with us. We'll be right back. Hey, Ali here. Are you feeling stressed and overwhelmed by tax season? Well, I'm here to tell you that PFS Tax Pros got your back. Get your maximum tax refund while saving time, money, and a lot of frustration. Their team of experienced professionals is dedicated to ensuring that you get every deduction that you deserve. They have undergone intensive training and utilize top-notch softwares to make sure that you receive the largest refund possible. You can count on them and notice deductions that others may miss and complete your return faster and more accurately. Whether you're an individual or a small business, they provide high-quality, low-cost preparation alternatives. You shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for tax preparation services, and with them, you don't have to. Plus, they offer incredible benefits, including cash advances for up to $7,000, free email support, and quick filing. Let them know, and they can help you to eliminate all of the confusion, have tax preparation, and don't have to wait. Visit PFX Tax Pros today and get into the next step for your maximum refund now. All right. I told you you're going to like that guy who's in that camera. You probably understand why, right? Make sure you join that website and get the information, get the quote right away, because Derrick is the man and Ali said so. All right, listen, I got a question for you, Mr. Pettis. Let's just play a game. I am trying to start a business from scratch, right? Is it okay for me to start a business as an individual without registering a business, or would you advise me right away, Ali, you need to register a business?
Excuse me, y'all. It depends what state you're in. So those are going to be some things. If you're in Florida with me, I want to tell you it depends on the business. and how much business you actually plan on doing, whether you're just trying to do something to pay a bill, whether you're just trying to accomplish a goal like purchase something, or if this is something that you plan on growing and scaling and possibly one day hiring people. So I would ask questions, and those questions would lead me uh, to direct them. But generally, anyone that does any work or provides any service for a fee or for profit, I would advise them to register it. That way, they can fully utilize it, especially for taxes.
Great. Would you recommend that I register an LLC, an S corp, or any specific entity?
That's going to depend again on those particular things. What type of business it is? Are you going to be hiring people? Do you have any partners? There's a couple of questions and a little bit deeper. You have to dive into that to give an exact answer. But generally, for the one person going to do taxes from home, right, on a laptop, right? I would tell them to start an LLC, a single member LLC.
Great. If I wanted to eventually start just an LLC and I want to grow it in a way that I'm going to hire individuals eventually, is it okay and is it legal for me to switch from LLC into an S corp? And at one point, would you recommend, if anything at all, to do switch from an LLC to an S corp?
What you can do is you can register the entity as an LLC, single member LLC if you're the sole owner. And then when you do start to hire people and you want to change, you can elect to be taxed as a S corp.
Do I pay more taxes when I switch to an S corp or less taxes, or does it matter?
You kind of open yourself up to a double taxation because you open the corporation up to being taxed, and then you also have to do income tax.
Very good. And is it okay for me to open a trust and put the S corp or an LLC and all these different entities? And that goes back to a question that I've seen a lot of times. You hear all these gurus doing the, whiteboard and talking about, here's what you want to do: open a trust and then get an S corp and open a lot of LLCs and get an insurance this and that. Like, what do you recommend to declutter the idea of a trust?
The one thing I would do, especially if we're dealing with somebody that's just looking to start their first entity, I wouldn't suggest all of that, because I mean, if you're going to be getting a trust, then that means that you have a bunch of assets already that you're trying to protect. We got to get to that point. So I'm not going to start there with somebody just getting in the game.
Yeah. So get your money right, and then you can talk about where to hide it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's levels to this. And a lot of the time you put people in the mindset of things that they aren't able to accomplish yet. And it's really money they're going to spend that they're not going to be using.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to go open bank accounts. And I mean, what assets do you have to put inside the trust?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Doing your taxes, or at least having estimated taxes paid on a quarterly basis while you're in business, is it wise? Are there any variables, or I wouldn't really recommend it?
I wouldn't recommend that because there can be unexpected expenses, fees that you pay throughout the remainder of the year. And if you tally it up all at the end of the year, it just works out a little bit different. Estimated, you might be paying more than you actually would have been required to pay if you had just, itemized everything and did it the old school bread and butter way.
So a follow up on that. So if I were to send my taxes on an estimated quarterly basis, right, like that I write a check for estimated taxes, would I, when I do my taxes at the end of the year or the beginning of the next fiscal year, would it balance out where I get a tax return, or it's not necessarily the case because there may be different variables? I'm just curious on that.
It depends, because you're electing to pay this estimated tax. Now, what you would have to do is file an amended return and say, okay, I paid the estimated tax, but it actually works out to where that throughout this quarter of the year, it wiped out the entire profit that I showed from the first quarter, right? So my fourth quarter might have wiped the profit out from the first two quarters because we just had a bad quarter. You know, those things happen. So, I mean, I wouldn't suggest you selecting to use the estimated tax.
So that's why it's better. Hey, keep the money in the account in reserve. So then I have a separate follow up to that. How do you create a discipline? Because look, the truth of the matter is 99% of us do not have financial discipline. If we have it, we're going to spend it, right? So how do you then have a professional that holds your money in a way that, hey, I'm going to take an estimate and put it aside, or do you create a system, or are there systems that kind of separate the estimated and just leave it in reserve? Walk me about what you would advise somebody in that situation.
What I would do is, and what I personally do is I use specific softwares. I'm not gonna really shout anybody out because I'm not, you know, I'm not promoting anybody's products, but I do use them. But I would, and it's just because I know how it works, but I kind of keep track of my expenses and my balances throughout the year, and I kind of know where I am, and I pretty much know the math and the equation. So I'm always able to, and there's another thing I'm gonna mention that I learned where I take my profit, right? I take 1/3 of my profit, keep for myself, 1/3, and I put that up for taxes. The other third, I invest. So I'm always gonna have some money put to the side for possible tax liability.
If you didn't get that, I don't know what to tell you, because that was a golden nugget right there. And by the way, everything that you are hearing in this episode is for educational and, of course, entertainment purposes as well. Why not? Because we are that cool. Make sure you always check with your local tax preparer and financial professional who is going to advise you and tell you what to do, because each and every single one of us, including yourself, have different circumstances, different situations, different financial back end, and we don't want you to act on what you're hearing based on a situation that is different than yours. So definitely make sure that you check with your local professionals. But what Mr. Pettis does for himself, and again, if you get the advice on your local professionals and that's something that meets your spirit, he takes 1/3 for himself. He keeps the 1/3 on the side for tax purposes once tax season, and of course 1/3 he invests it. And then of course I would love to dig into your behavior. How does a professional like yourself not get caught up into wanting to buy toys? Because look, I know you love your car and I know you like to live good, right? You traveled, you went to Dubai, you went to, South America a couple of times. We see you, we peeping you, you living that good life. So how does an individual maintain a positive outlook on life? Meaning I, like everybody else, want to get a little bit more money and have more experiences out of life, but at the same exact time, maintaining a sense of discipline that I don't get out of my daily method of operation, if you will, with that third, and a third example that you've given us.
There's two things I do. The first thing I do is I never stop working. I'm always trying to find a way to make some money, right? So that's the first thing. Second, I'm really not interested in a lot of that because I did it when I was young. I was able to, as a young man, make a lot of money. It wasn't in the best ways, but I was able to make a lot of money. So the cars and the clothes, the jewelry, I got 20 gold teeth, you know what I'm saying? So I did a lot of that a lot of these people live and work for and risk it all for. I did all of that as a young man, and I understand once you spend that money, it's gone. You can't go to the grocery store with that Mercedes.
You're giving everybody a hint, wink, wink. I am available for robbery.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can't, and at the end of the day, when the money is gone, that's what I'm talking about. When the money is gone and you got that Mercedes and you spent $80,000 on it, and you broke, and somebody tells you, I give you 15 grand for it. That feeling you get in your heart, you know what I'm saying? That man, I
Yeah.
spent $80,000 on it, and guess what? You got to take them 15,000 or the light's gonna be off. So I learned as a young man, it's better to keep my money and forget about that stuff, so I ain't got to worry about the lights being off and somebody taking my nice Benz for pennies on the dollar.
Let me
So
let me talk to you about, the investment side of things. Um, what would you consider investing on in the future that you have not considered yet? And what I mean, I know you do extremely well as an individual independent trader. You learned your stuff and you're extremely disciplined with that. I know that you've seen a couple of opportunities that you've partnered up with and participated with, and you've done well there. But what would you consider investing on, at some point in the future that you have not invested into yet? And again, this does not mean that we are following any financial or legal advice, but I'm just curious on the brain of Derrick Pettis.
I'm old school, right? So I think that, excuse me, a lot of people get caught up chasing new things, and with the new things, you're shaking the dice. We're taking a chance with everything, right? But I stick to the bread and butter stuff, Ali. I'm really not. I'm gonna stick to what has worked for me. Real estate. I don't speak about it a lot, but I've purchased and sold real estate. I'm not a real estate person, but I do understand you buy it cheap and sell it high.
Yeah.
Boom. So stuff like that, man. Real estate. I'm into buying physical precious metals, gold, silver, platinum. Rhodium. I buy. When I get extra cash, that's what I invest my money in. Stuff
Would,
that
would, would you open a jewelry store?
I actually was working on something like that at one point. It just it was at the wrong time because gold started to shoot up.
Yeah.
And it's like,
How about dispensaries?
that's very lucrative.
What's your thought on dispensaries from 20 years ago, where there was none and everybody was getting in trouble, and now it's like if you open a dispensary, everybody's like, you're an innovator, you're the next Elon Musk. I mean, does it make you like look be like, like
It's
how,
not
like what's happening?
it's it's not new to me. See, because I started in California.
Yeah.
You see, it started in California, Oregon, and out west, and it's just slowly moving that way. And what we're dealing with is the people that are our age are now in the political places to do these things, and they open the doors. And at the end of the
Tax
day,
money.
right, they open the doors, and I do think that we should, have a piece of that pie.
You know what I think, and it's interesting. I remember 2015, Colorado, for the very first time, became the very first state to legalize recreational marijuana across the whole state. And everybody was like, oh, late night pundits were talking about it and saying every accident is going to. And it was the lowest amount of DUI countrywide that next following year. And they had, for the very first time in, I don't know, decade or whatever, a huge surplus in their economy, like where they're just checks everywhere with mad like reserves. And that's when you started seeing every year after that, like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and 3 months ago or 2 months ago, Labor Day actually specifically, wifey and I and the kids were like, let's go to Manhattan Sunday. And bro, I mean, look, no offense, New York, but I turned right around because everybody was puffing in downtown. And I'm like, oh, I got the kids with me. Like, I don't mind it, but I got the kids. So it just didn't make sense. But yeah, everywhere now there is like, small, it's like there's food trucks. Now there is dispensary trucks everywhere. And it's like, I'm sure if somebody did their time in jail, they're like, that's messed up.
It's terrible. I mean, it's terrible.
So,
It's
so,
terrible.
so again, just side note, just for my own entertainment and curiosity, do you think there should be some form of reparation or just dropping, cleaning somebody's record if they did time with marijuana, that now it is a $1 trillion industry.
That would help me.
I didn't know I was rooting for you.
but I mean, let's just I don't think they'll do it because it gives up too much power that they have.
You're talking because many more people are going to be able to vote on things that might not be for the benefit of the person who is approving.
It takes away too much of the entire reason for them doing that silly stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now they're coming back and trying to clean up the things that they did that affected people, so many people, right? But it's like, okay, you did it, you're going to change it, but you're not going to give anybody anything that you know that it affected. And that's one of the that's one of the reasons I do not support Kamala. I just can't. I'm
Damn,
sorry.
hold on. We went from I'm not trying to push anything political, and I love
sorry.
everybody.
I had to say it. I had to say that.
I'm not like, this is the entertainment side of the infotainment show. My man went from like, look, you vote based on what you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm old school. I'm all about giving money to businesses, but hey, do what you want. I'm all about, being capitalistic, not socialist, but do what you want. Hey, man, I'm just going to go say it. I'm not supporting Kamala.
I can't support Kamala. Yeah, I said I can't support her, and it's because of her history.
Look, I already know what you're going with. She incarcerated more men for little tiny things with marijuana than any politician or AD has ever. I totally am with you on that. I do have to say, just based on the way this conversation turned, it's also okay to have your own point of view, not based on the skin of my color, but my character. Because there's a lot of that. Like, if you're a black man in America or a black woman, you better vote for Kamala Harris or what,
that's
bro?
Terrible. That's terrible.
Because look, you can't say, don't judge me based on the skin of my color, but my character. But when it comes to politics, judge me on that.
That's equivalent to Joe Biden saying, if
you don't vote for me,
that's crazy. God, that's.
Let me bring you back, because me and you are going to end up somewhere else in this conversation.
Right, we can do the same thing with Trump. There's things that we can talk about why we do or don't support, but like Kamala, I can't support her.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let me and you can tell me next if you don't want to get into this question, but you have dual citizenship, and many people that I know with dual citizenship, they have it with Canada or some parts in Europe. You have dual citizenship with Mexico, yes?
Yes.
Okay, if we can get into that, tell me the reason behind it, and how does somebody go about it? I mean, is it easy or is it complex?
It's a simple process. I mean, and if I did it, anybody can do it. Well, once again, but
I did not like the way you said that. It's you made it sound a lot worse than it needed to be. It's like, if I did it,
because I don't hide the fact that I'm a felon and I've been in prison. Yeah. So I kind of lead with that, Ali, and we spoke about that earlier. How I don't hide who I am. I lead with that because I want people to understand the opportunity and what you can accomplish if you have goals and you chase them and you just don't give up on them. But, I decided to do that, and that leads us back to some of the other programs and things that we dealing with crypto and stuff, and the know your customer processes that you go through. It allows us to be able to pass those evaluations, to be involved in businesses abroad that don't want to deal with people with only U.S. residencies.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And by the way, I'm gonna give you a moment of laughter, because this is my our producer from the behind the scene. I get a message, right? And here's what the message says: color of my skin, not skin of my color. I got you, Rich. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes Mino English kicks in, ladies and gentlemen. Born and raised in Northwest Africa. Been in the country for 22 years and still mess up English every now and then. I love it. All right, look, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about the vision for you, for your companies, and of course, how you see us moving forward as a nation. We'll be right back. Hey, Ali here. Are you feeling stressed and overwhelmed by tax season? Well, I'm here to tell you that PFS Tax Pros got your back. Get your maximum tax refund while saving time, money, and a lot of frustration. Their team of experienced professionals is dedicated to ensuring that you get every deduction that you deserve. They have undergone intensive training and utilize top-notch softwares to make sure that you receive the largest refund possible. You can count on them and notice deductions that others may miss and complete your return faster and more accurately. Whether you're an individual or a small business, they provide high-quality, low-cost preparation alternatives. You shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for tax preparation services, and with them, you don't have to. Plus, they offer incredible benefits, including cash advances for up to $7,000, free email support, and quick filing. Let them know, and they can help you to eliminate all of the confusion, have tax preparation, and don't have to wait. Visit PFX Tax Pros today and get into the next step for your maximum refund now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Ali Midawi here at the ME Studios with the ME Show with the man amid the legend, Derrick Pettis. We covered so much. I mean, I'm having a great time, and I love it anytime I invite and interview somebody that I'm comfortable with, because it doesn't feel like, an interview. It just feels like two dudes just chilling, having a good time, and there's no better way for that. For me, at least, selfishly speaking. And brother, I took so many notes. The questions was like, I am getting a lesson right now. All right. It's great. Hey, let's talk about your vision, your PFS vision for the future of your company. I mean, think with me 3 to 5 years from now, regardless of political sides, what do you envision? What do you want to see your company establishing? Scaling, exiting, selling? What are you thinking?
Right now I'm working on scaling. I want to grow my business, but I'm attempting to do it in a way to where that I can teach people the industry, each step of it, from marketing to the way to set up their own entity and start to build their own preparation service business. I'm big on teaching people about entrepreneurship, right? Because I think that's the key to us, building the foundation for us to grow as a whole. We have to, for one, start the businesses, and for two, support them and work with each other to grow them. So that's the vision for PFS Pros. I'm looking to have a PFS Tax Pros office in all 50 states within the next
50 states?
50 states. I want to touch every state.
What you gonna do in North Dakota, bro?
File taxes. There's people that work there. I'm telling you, one of my mentors is in Wisconsin for 30 years. So he's in the snow in the middle of the woods doing taxes.
No offense, North Dakota. It was just a random comment before I get hate on the comments.
But
hey, yeah.
There's money to be made everywhere.
No, I hear you on that. It's look, I've been in the country for 22 years and I fell in love with what America is about. Like I'll even tell you real story, bro, real talk. Earlier, I was, earlier today, having a conversation with a group of people that we spent almost a year working on a project just to find out that the project is not going to happen because the other counterparties that we were negotiating with and doing a lot of work on ended up being just they lied, they deceived, they made up numbers and figures and whatnot, right? And the individuals that I was talking to, they're like afraid. They're like, well, can we just send a nice letter and saying that we're going to exit just so there is no legal ramification? I'm like, bro, this is America. And you know what America says? better back off because I'm coming after you. You wasted a year of my life and you want me to be the nice guy about it. We used to be okay of having disagreements, but respecting one another. We used to be okay with not seeing eye to eye in political views even, but hey, we talk it out, you have a drink or you have a smoke and peace out, life is good. We are fighting now, incredibly fighting. And look, left and right are equally as bad in this side. I don't care who you are, you're doing bad things. I'm pissed off on my own rights with the, pedophilia, like stuff that's being pushed on kids. The other side may look at it differently, but I have my own stuff that I'm upset about, but I'm still able to have an honest conversation about it and be like, hey, we don't agree. It is what it is. What do you think, from your point of view as an entrepreneur, is our role in bringing people together? Because look, we hire people, we speak, we work with people. When somebody walks in your door, you don't say, are you a Republican or Democrat? You're like, let me see your documents. Let me help you. What do you think our role is to bringing people together?
First of all, education. I think that I'm always going to think that education is going to be the most important thing, because a lot of times we argue and go back and forth with people, and it's just a matter of someone not being properly educated on the topic or the subject at hand. So education is going to be key. I feel as though if we were both willing to learn more and willing to teach each other more, we would work out and everything would just end up a lot better, because we could move forward.
It's so spot on. And the truth of the matter is, when we hear the word education, a lot of people think we're talking about school. Like, bro, just get to know the other person. Like they're looking at a 6, you're looking at a 9. In the same side is the right thing. But if you were just to understand they're looking at it from a different perspective, at least there will be mutual respect. The other side of education, which again, I'm so grateful that you're bringing it up, get to know people, not because I am different than you or I have an accent or my skin tone is different, or, I'm wearing a MAGA hat, that all of a sudden you got to dismiss me one way or the other. Not because, the stereotype, right? Like, get to know the real deal, get to know the individual. And if you say, no, I don't need to, I don't want to, I don't have to, well, you're part of the problem. You are absolutely part of the problem. And I appreciate that. Do you care about legacy? Not what people think about you, but do you care about leaving a legacy for the next generation?
I am big on leaving a legacy for my next generation. I don't care what the people on the outside looking in think or have to say, but I am big on building a legacy for my kids and my family that I'm going to leave behind. And I want that legacy to be more than someone talking about me. I would like for it to be tangible things, businesses, property, land, and things that they can touch that will actually benefit them in life. And then people can say whatever they want to say.
One thing that and me and you are on the same page. It's freeing yourself when you no longer care what anybody thinks about you, bro. Like, I got so much hate sometimes. I posted a week ago. In 2013, the United States of America had a median average income of $53,000. 11 years later, today in 2024, the average income in the United States is $56,000. $3,000 difference, but you and I both know everything doubled, right? And all I said, I am looking to hire social media managers, account executives, no MLM. I literally wrote no MLM, no affiliate, meaning I'm not recruiting in here. Like, I'm genuinely want to hire people, right? And then I had this one dude, and like, you're fear mongering this and you're fear mongering that. I smell a snake from a mile away, and I'm like, what the heck what did I say? Like, what did I say? So people hate for no reason. And to me, that just tells me they've been hurt, right? They just been hurt. And I'm not taking it against you, but I don't care what anybody thinks. In our community, and when I say our community, in immigrant community or in minorities overall, and I actually screw that. In America in general, a lot of people have dismissed their potential, and they start saying, but you don't understand, Derrick. I grew up in the hood, or you don't understand, I didn't have my father, or you don't understand. What is your advice to that individual to break free from that yesterday version of themselves and start looking forward? I mean, you and I have had our own version and actually Rich, our chief production officer behind the scene, we've had our incredible amount of fair share of adversity and shit, for the lack of better words, that we had to deal with. What is your advice for that individual to grow out of whatever victimized mindset that they may be in?
First thing they gotta do is kick that. Stop feeling like a victim, or making yourself to be the victim. One of the things I've always done, and I've always done this, is I always found a way to blame myself for anything adverse that went on in my life. That was the only way that it could be fixed, is if I looked at me and said, okay, how did this happen? And then I fixed all of the stuff with me that allowed it to happen. I'm not worried about what other people did or how they added to the situation. I'm looking at what I did to allow this to happen. And then I work on fixing those things. And then nothing nobody else does will affect me as long as I don't make those mistakes, because I see what they're doing.
You mentioned, obviously, it's no secret, you've done you've done your time and learned from life and your past. Have you ever reconnected with anybody from the inside and said, hey, I'm going to reach out and give a hand and help? Or have you ever gone back to visit or try to give everybody a little bit of sense of hope? Or it's like, hey, it's not my life anymore, I don't even want to be in that environment?
I'm gonna be honest. That has been one of the most heartbreaking things in my journey. Is that the people that I moved away from the lifestyle that we were living and started to live a different lifestyle, and I reached back to them, and it's just like uh, it's sad to say that a lot of people stay stuck because they choose to stay stuck. I don't spend a lot of time on those people. I generally tend to work with people that have some kind of, just hope to themselves. I can't um, beat myself up about a lot of the people around me continuing to make the same terrible decisions. And I just had a close friend of mine had did a bunch of time and was about to get ready to come home. And we was talking, and I would tell him, I say, man, listen, it's not the same as it used to be when we was running around kids. And I just straight up told him, I say, ain't nothing but the police in the streets. And he didn't even, man, he didn't make it 2 weeks. And he's looking at spending the rest of his life in prison now because he doesn't want to get rid of what a lot of people call that stinking thinking. Yeah, you can get out here and possibly make millions and millions of dollars, but you can also possibly spend the rest of your life in prison. And I'm just not willing to take that chance with you. So I let them continue. And that's the danger of me attempting to reach back into, my past to help people, because they want to drag you back into the barrel. We got that crab in the barrel thing. And so I'm to the point now where I'm looking to grow, but I'm looking to grow by working with people who are like-minded, man, and got the same kind of thinking that I do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Regret is a thing that a lot of us at some point of our lives felt, and we shake it out of our system. I'm like, nah, man, no regret. I got to move on. I can't live with regret, because regret creates stress hormones, and stress hormones eat your protein out of your cells, and now you become protein deficient, and all of a sudden you're getting sick. Story for another day. But have you ever had any regrets? Do you have any regrets, or do you just, hey, it is what it is. It happened. I can't keep dwelling on it.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
That's why I'm asking it, my guy. I know you enough to ask the right
It's tough.
questions.
It's tough because, of course, we've all lost people.
Yeah,
I've lost a lot of my friends. A lot of people that I grew up with and spent a lot of my time with,
yeah.
I've lost. So, in regards to that, I have regrets But at the same time, I don't have any regrets because I took a lesson from everything that happened in my life, and I always uh, changed for the best. I always took the time to think and made a decision to make the changes that would be best for me in the long run. And I didn't have that right now mentality.
Talk to me about the biggest life lesson you've ever had. Personal, business, past, PFS, prison time, you name it. What is the biggest lesson till this day? You're like, if I can pick one moment, that was it.
The biggest lesson I had in my life was my first day in prison. When I got there, and you go through the orientation process, and they take you through it's inhumane. You think you're watching, Roots or something, slavery movie. The way they have you on the market, that's how they bring you into the prison system. And once I went through that and got on the compound, they call it the compound, the yard, whatever, and I was around the other inmates, and I saw people that were comfortable with being there. That was the biggest thing that impacted me in life. And I knew that I was not the same type of person as these people, and this was not where I was supposed to be. And that's actually where I started to seek a lot of reading material, and I started to do a lot of reading. And it started out with all of the superhero drug dealer books that they feed you in prison, until I got a book called, and I'm gonna give this guy a shout out. I don't even know if he's still living, but he was a professor at Florida State University of Psychology, Naeem Akbar. I believe I told you this before. His book named Visions for Black Men. That book changed my life. It changed the way I saw myself. So that's a shot. Anybody, that looks like me and Ali, get that book and read it. Not only read it, take it in.
Especially handsome like me.
Because I mean, I started to understand, and this is one of the things that I took from it, and this is what changed me. I understood from reading this dude's writings the difference from being a man and a boy masquerading as a man.
Which is what leads us from making those early mistakes, because in our mind, I'm like, I'm a grown man, I can do anything, but in reality, an 18-year-old is still a boy.
Right. Watch this, Ali. The boy is the one with the Mercedes and no library at home. You see what I'm saying? The boy is the person who's got the $1 million wardrobe, but no books to read. You see, that changed my mentality. So,
man, you just poked somebody in the brain, which is a good poke. It's a good poke. Let me get, and again, if any of these questions, obviously, like you can say next, because they are personal questions. Are you a spiritual person? I wouldn't say religious, but are you spiritual? Like, do you believe in God, like as an actual, real, higher power that gave us life, that operates within our universe? Or it's like, are you more of an energy guy? It's just we're born and we're gonna die.
I'm a mixture.
I'm
not a traditionally spiritual person. I'm not a Christian, a Muslim, or any other religious titles that people choose to carry, but I do believe that there is some sort of power, spirit, energy, whatever you want to call it, that is there. I do believe that each of us has control of it. And when I say control of it, I mean that we act on behalf of it. We are that energy or that spirit expressing itself as Derrick right now, right? So I'm that energy or whatever we want to call it, expressing itself as Derrick. When I come in contact with a tree, that tree is that same thing expressing itself as a tree, and me and this tree, me and Ali, me and our producers and the crew and everybody, we have to find a way to coincide on the earth to make it harmonious. That's my spirituality.
Love that. Do you have any fears?
I have a lot of fears, and I teach my kids because I have boneheaded boys that seem to not be afraid of anything. My oldest and my youngest seem to not be afraid of anything. And I have to teach them and tell them that, son, your dad is here because he was scared sometimes. You see what I'm saying? Your dad is able to tell you stories about stuff because he was scared that time. You know, so my mom always taught me this, and she used this quote, so I'm going to share it with the world. You'd rather be an alive chicken than a dead duck.
I love that. Because you know I'm going to tell it to my boy. Duck. Noted, my guy. Hey, you know, we believe in you and we believe in your message. We believe in your company so much that we're going to do some fun stuff. So I think, you know, the ME Studios has access to these vacation resorts. We're hooking you up, obviously, with 4 nights, 5 days to Mexico, food, beverage, and lodging. And of course, you just letting us know when you're ready for it. And we're going to make sure that we take care of you. But because of who you are, we're also going to dedicate 15 of these very same vacations. They're worth $3,000 a piece. And we're going to give it to the first 15 individuals from here in this video who are going to sign up and do business with PFSTaxPros.com. So for the first 15 individuals, you just got to let us know, obviously, and we're going to hook them up. Obviously, taxes are excluded. We cannot pay for taxes or incentivize you with taxes. It's actually not legal. That's why when you win a car or a lottery, you still got to pay taxes on them, right? But with that being said, we're gonna hook up your audience. So you got 15 that you can use however you see fit. It's about 45 grand worth of vacations. So we're doing our part to help you out. So make sure that you visit PFSTaxPros.com and get your free quote. Work your way to getting that maximum return up to $7,000. Make sure that you can get an advance 48 hours or even in some cases 24 hours. This man right here is the real deal. What you're seeing right now is what you're going to get. And I love how involved he is directly. I usually ask the $1 million question, Derrick, if that's okay with you. This is where I try to strip you from all of your superpowers and see what you're going to do about it. So let's say you wake up tomorrow, you don't have PFS Tax Pro, you cannot practice taxes in any way, shape, or form. You cannot have access to a bank account. You lost everything. No money, no internet. You can still have humans around you, but just nothing as a resource that we have right now. And you lost everything. You got to start all over again. What are you doing within the first 30 days?
First 30 days, I am going to do whatever I have to do to acquire me a laptop. For real, because people don't understand the power of a simple laptop.
I get it.
A laptop and some of the things you mentioned, internet service, and I don't need much more to make money. And I don't understand how people don't understand this these days.
It's a puzzling thing for you and I both. I'll tell you what. And by the way, easy go. Like he's like, I'll cut grass for a laptop. I'll do whatever I got to do. But I'm getting me a laptop and some internet. I talk to people all the time. And look, I've done it. What I'm going to tell you right now, I've done it. There's no shame in getting beat up by life and saying, I'm going to show you how great I am. Because when you hit rock bottom, guess what? The only way you can go is up. I have people who's like, man, Ali, bro, like I'm struggling, I'm hurting. I'm like, all right, well, look, what are you driving? like, oh no, I got a little Toyota Camry. I'm like, all right, cool. Put it on Uber and Lyft and Grubhub and all those different ride sharing applications. And guess what? You don't need to get a boss who can give you hours. You can start working right away and making money right away. I know people who do 12 hours a day of Uber. I know you may say it's a lot, but if you want to make that money, it's there for you. And they make $100,000 a year. It's 12 hours, but guess what, bro? Like, you're in your car, you get to stop and grab a bite. You can do to the networking, phone calls in between, or whatever the case may be. So don't tell me you can't. Just tell me I don't know how to. I'll accept that any day, but don't tell me you can't. And my man, Derrick Pettis, just showed you exactly, no matter the background, no matter the challenges, no matter the lack, you absolutely can make it. And, by the time you watch this, we probably have a new president already, and whichever you voted for, we respect you, love you. Make sure you speak to a professional when it comes to your taxes and your financials. Everything that you heard in here is specifically based on the experience, based on the circumstance, based on the situations that Derrick Pettis himself and Ali Midawi have lived and experienced, and everybody has a different circumstance and situation. So please, please, please always check with a local professional. And with that, we love and thank you. Derrick, I'm going to let you have the last 30 seconds for that one hater who's talking mad smack about how amazing this interview was, and give us that one last message for the person who does not see themselves making it the way you have. What is your message for that person?
Not making it is not an option for me or anyone that I'm going to come into contact with. You have to be your own motivation. Expect people to hate you. Expect people to not support you, right? And expect the worst from everything and everyone. That will motivate you to work harder, right? That will allow you to deal with defeat or being shut down easier. Be responsible, take responsibility, and don't quit.
And don't quit, ladies and gentlemen. With that, you heard it right here. He came in the second time. The one and only Derrick Pettis. My name is Ali Midawi. This is the ME Show. Yo, Derrick, tell him peace out, everybody. Hey, Ali here. Are you feeling stressed and overwhelmed by tax season? Well, I'm here to tell you that PFS Tax Pros got your back. Get your maximum tax refund while saving time, money, and a lot of frustration. Their team of experienced professionals is dedicated to ensuring that you get every deduction that you deserve. They have undergone intensive training and utilize top-notch softwares to make sure that you receive the largest refund possible. You can count on them and notice deductions that others may miss and complete your return faster and more accurately. Whether you're an individual or a small business, they provide high-quality, low-cost preparation alternatives. You shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for tax preparation services, and with them, you don't have to. Plus, they offer incredible benefits, including cash advances for up to $7,000, free email support, and quick filing. Let them know, and they can help you to eliminate all of the confusion, have tax preparation, and don't have to wait. Visit PFX Tax Pros today and get into the next step for your maximum refund now.